Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Pisces full moon reading. And it's the first day of Virgo season. So happy Virgo season. Happy birthday to all of my fellow Virgos out there. The Pisces full moon is actually happening on my birthday on the day. It's not my solar return is the night before. But on my birthday is when the Pisces full moon is happening. I do have all of my solar return readings 44% off right now. So if you would like to get a solar return reading with me, it is using the code birthday to celebrate my birthday. You can get your solar return and really any of the readings. I have this really cool Akashic Records past life clearing reading. That's 44% off using the code birthday. My regular tarot readings, whether you want it recorded or live, that's 44% off. Like everything on my website. And there's some pretty cool things there. Like if you've never gotten an astrology reading, probably now would be the time to do that. Or, if you're a Virgo or a Libra or even a Leo, like you can still get a solar return reading at any time. The solar return reading tells you about what your upcoming solar year is going to look like. And it can be really helpful to help navigate like what themes. And you're probably already focusing on those themes, or like it feels like you're focusing on those themes. One of the cool things about astrology is learning about like that week leading up to your birthday. There's sort of this like leveling up portal that you go through. And you just sort of, yeah, it's like you grow. I mean, it's like the growing up, right? Everybody's like, do you feel older on your birthday? And probably a lot of that has processed. So you don't really, so anyway. So yes, 44% off on the website. And we also have our Patreon up and going, and it's going really strongly. And I'm so incredibly grateful that everybody wants to listen to what I have to say. Anyway, so the Patreon, you will get all of your monthly astrology, including all of the really big energy shifts, all of the big planetary shifts. During Virgo season, we have a lot of planets turning direct, where in Leo season, we actually had a lot of planets going retrograde. In Virgo season, we have some planets going direct. So like Venus and Mercury are both going direct. So you can find out, I publish all of the rising signs on either the last day of the month or the first of the next month, so that you know what your monthly astrology is going to be compared to your rising sign. And I just got done last weekend publishing, Friday. I think it was on Friday. I published all of the mid-month tarot readings. So those are all up too for your sun, moon, and rising. And it's only for $10.99 a month. And that is one of the best ways to support us right now. So we are offering all of that to you guys. And all of that information is in the description box if you would like to support. I just found out that I was denied disability. So now I have to fight it. So any kind of support that you guys can give us is huge right now. Yeah, it's just, that was just one of those things. What's really funny is like stuff like that comes up now. And I'm just like, it just is like, I am such at an acceptance stage of my life that there's really not a lot that will bother me. I mean, I've even kind of tested myself. Like I've done some really very interesting things to like test my own emotional control and my own like emotional maturity, and like, can I really control my mind, and can I really control my emotions? And you absolutely can, like with a lot of willpower and strength and showing up for yourself and taking care of yourself. Like you can absolutely do all of those things. We have I have to tell you guys about this because I'm really excited. We have a second tier starting with the Patreon. It's going to be happening in the coming weeks. We don't have like an exact date for it. But we have a second tier coming, and we're going to have a lot of the Love and Science masterclass teachers teaching classes in this second tier. And I'll be kind of starting that off with a new manifestation class. So in 2021, I did a manifestation class while I was still living in Kansas City. And then I got sick, and then I found out that I was sick, and like all of these things kind of happened after I did that manifestation class, and the world like imploded on me, and I had to like pivot and figure out all these things about my life while having terminal cancer. And so I have a new manifestation class coming up that will be a part of that new Patreon. It's not up yet, but I'm really excited about it, and I had to tell you guys about it. So I hope you join us on Patreon. You'll be the first ones to know about that tier if you are a member of the bottom tier. So, but yeah, manifesting in a crazy mad world. Like, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what it looks like to live your dream life in a crazy, crazy ass world. Let's do that, because it's not. I mean, we got to pivot. We got to do something. All right. Let's talk about this moon, you guys. I love all of you that just hang out with me and let me talk about things. Oh, I got to pull it up. Hold on. What am I doing? I'm not even ready. I had to restart my computer, and I had to do like all sorts of things because Mercury is stationed retrograde today. Happy Virgo season. Mercury is stationed retrograde. Today is August 23rd. I'm doing this video. So happy Virgo season. Happy Mercury retrograde. My advice for Mercury retrograde, because Mercury, rules the sign of Virgo. Mercury is right at home in the sign of Virgo, and Mercury is very mischievous. The Greek or the Roman god, actually the god story, the Hermes, right? I'll get it straight. The Greek myths, right? Hermes is Quicksilver, is Mercury, and he's the only god because he's the messenger between the worlds. He's the only god that's allowed to go into the underworld without being captured and having to stay there. He can go between the underworld and the upper world, and he can do all of that without, being harmed in any way or like being captured or anything like that. So Mercury is a very mischievous planet. We have 3 retrogrades of Mercury every single year, and we have survived all of them. So we will survive this one too. And honestly, my biggest advice for this Mercury retrograde that will be direct on September 15th, and if you want to know the whole thing, especially how it's going to affect your rising sign, Patreon is the way to go. That reading is up there. Yeah, so Mercury will be direct on September 15th. And my biggest advice is to not overthink it, because you'll want to. Especially when things start to go wrong. Mercury can be very obnoxious when he's in retrograde, especially the day of stationing, like when it's bumpy. Like I have tried to do this video a couple of times already, and I had to be really patient with my technology because it's old. It has to be replaced, and so I have to be patient with things. So yeah, so here we are. Let's talk about what's happening a week from now. So on August 30th at 7:35 p.m. Mountain Time, we will have a full moon in Pisces at the 7 degrees. And, every single year when we have this Pisces full moon, this is the harvest full moon. And it's the last full moon of the summer. This is the Indian summer. This is harvest season. This is where, I follow a lot of people that garden and, really are planting, there's a lot of people that are making, like planting their own foods, right now and wanting to do a lot of things homemade. And so I get on Twitter or I get on social media and there's like pictures and pictures and pictures of all these squash and zucchini and tomatoes and like, you know, it's harvest season, right? It's very much harvest season. And Virgos remind me of ants. And I'm just going to put that out there because we've all heard the story about the ant, where the ant, you know, finds food and brings it back to the anthill or the home, and they stock up, right? They stock up on their food for the winter, because in the winter they're underground. They don't want to freeze their asses off with the snow going on or whatever. So ants are really, really active during this time. And they're, you know, gathering up their food, and they're, you know, gathering it for the winter time. And that's what Virgo season, that's the beginning of Virgo season. And then we go into Libra season, where there's actually the equinox, where the daylight happens, right? And so, you know, we'll talk about that a little bit, where the equal daylight and nighttime happen. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but this is where we round out the summer and we start to see the fruits of our labor from the spring. The things that we planted in the spring, we're now really seeing like how much we actually produced during the summer, you know, during all that time. And the Pisces full moon, as we start to shift seasons, this is always very cleansing. This is always an extremely cleansing time. And this Pisces full moon is not going to be any different than that. It's always very healing. I mean, it's like Pisces heal us all the time, right? Pisces is the very end of the zodiac, the 12th sign in the zodiac. And the 12th house is represented with Pisces energy. So it's very much, you know, going inward, and it's very much those things that we don't necessarily pay attention to in the light of day. You know, that's all the stuff that's going to come up during this Pisces full moon. It's going to be such a healing process, and it might drive you crazy. It really, really might drive you a little bit crazy during the Pisces full moon, because we have Saturn here retrograde in Pisces. The moon will conjoin Saturn just hours before it perfects at its fullness. And if we remember what Saturn is like this is going to be a Pisces full moon where you can really easily fall back into bad habits. You can really easily fall back into those overindulging bad habits. You know, what's the negative aspect? You know, what's that part, you know, when we feel really restricted by something. So for example, for me, I feel restrictions a lot of the time when it comes to my health, because like my chemistry will be off and I can't eat certain foods, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. And I feel really restricted by that. So during this Pisces full moon for myself, and especially since it's in the 6th house and I got to pay attention to my health, I have to really have that discipline and have that discernment, especially because Saturn is there and Saturn is full of consequences. So if we act out against ourselves during this Pisces full moon, because we're never acting out against other people. We may think that we are. We may think that we're ruining someone else's life by telling them the business. But I guarantee you that other person probably doesn't care as much as you think that they do. So most of the time we're acting out on ourselves. We are creating our own disease. We're creating our own hurt and pain and frustration and all of that inside of us, right? And yes, other people can affect us, but when it comes down to it, what they're actually affecting are the things that already reside inside of us. So during this Pisces full moon, it really is about taking accountability for your own emotional awareness. This Pisces full moon is about being aware of yourself, and not necessarily restricting your emotions. If you got to have a temper tantrum, do it. Just don't project it onto someone else. If you are feeling a certain way, and you're feeling like there is especially if you have any planets that are in Sagittarius, Gemini, or Virgo at 7 degrees, or even Pisces, right? At 7 degrees, you're going to feel this the most and the hardest. And it really is a time for release. And so anything that you feel that has been restricting you, you may go overboard, right? If the pendulum is swinging and it's restricting you too far on one end, you might rebel. It's a very rebellious time, and you might rebel and swing far to the other side. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that there can be some willpower and a little discernment and some discipline, but being very aware of oneself, especially because we also have, there's not a lot of aspects going on. We still have Pluto square the nodes. Excuse me. We still have Pluto square the nodes. And so we still have 1 foot in the past and 1 foot in the future. And we still have like this drive to want to show up for the future, but we have a fear of leaving the past, right? Leaving the comfort of the past and leaving the things that we feel the safest within, even though we know that that's not good for us anymore. The comfort of sometimes comfort is not always good for you. Sometimes being overly comfortable in a position makes you stagnant. And as humans, we change constantly. If you think about what our bodies actually do, our cells are constantly regenerating. Our bodies are constantly repairing itself. There is always a death and rebirth cycle happening inside of us. That's why I'm not afraid of death. I'm not even afraid of the pain of death. I'm not even afraid of the circumstances around death, because I know I am living a death and rebirth cycle every single day of my life. And that's that kind of awareness that we need to have during these times, and recognizing that even if it doesn't feel like things are happening outside of us, there's definitely a healing and a releasing and, a starting over process that goes on, especially with these moon cycles. We have Mercury in conjunct or quincunx. There's 2 words for this 120-degree green line that's just going right across the chart here. But Mercury in conjunct Chiron retrograde. Both of them are retrograde. And I feel like this is really unearthing those things around, like, Aries is very much the I am. It's very much the self. So if we're not showing up for ourselves, I feel like this full moon is going to be really loud about the area of your life that you need to start focusing on showing up for yourself. I have found one of the things that I've learned is when you take care of your basic fundamental needs, you don't need other people to do that for you. And I think that that's something that's lost on this world in a really big way, because we expect other people to create experiences and situations to make us whole. And that's not how it works. We make ourselves whole first. We create the experiences, we create the situations. And if we do not have the room to create those experiences and situations because we have not let go of certain circumstances, it's hard, then you feel restricted. You feel like you don't have room to breathe. And I think that this Pisces full moon is going to do a lot of that. There's going to be some drowning. It's going to feel a lot like you're drowning if you feel restricted in some way. So I don't know how open people will be about expressing how they feel. I think that people will be very will project more than express, I guess. So the best way to handle this full moon is to focus on what you need and to focus on, what is going to be best for you during this time. And wherever you have, wherever you have Pisces transiting in your chart, or if you have planets at the 7th degree, in mutable signs, it's going to hit you, like wherever that is, those themes are. That's where this is going to be for you. And yeah, it's going to be a very healing time. It just is. And it may be uncomfortable. But that discomfort, we're all sort of getting used to it. I think that a lot of people are even being numbed. They're like numb now because of the things that are happening in life. And numbing yourself to the pain also means that you're numbing yourself to the joy of things. So, let yourself feel all of the heaviness and, and all of the processing that needs to happen with whatever comes up for you. Let's look at some cards, shall we? We're going to get a surrender card. For those of you that are new, thanks for hanging out. We have the power of surrender. Let's see what it is that we are all surrendering for this Pisces full moon. Oh, nice. Okay. So, surrender to divine timing. Sometimes divine timing may differ from your ego's timing. If a goal isn't manifesting fast enough, according to your ego, be patient and trust the universal flow. So surrender to divine timing. And then we also have surrender your fear of change. The universe is reminding you that you are cared for always, whether you're afraid of a change in your job, your health, or a relationship, or if you fear aging or death, repeat the affirmation, I have faith that all is well. A lot of the time, the reason why we fear the change is because we don't want to lose something that we're comfortable with. We don't want to have the chaos in our life. We want to be able to have that easy existence. And I think that changes make an easy existence a little less easy, right? The chaos of change, the discourse that happens with change. It's not a particularly fun time. And I think that that's why people fear it a lot. And also the unknown. Like, what if something changes and then I don't have control over it, right? There's this massive desire and need for control in our lives sometimes, especially when it's chaotic and we don't feel like we have control. We have this desire to want to control. So really working on our control issues and, divine timing is a very mutable trait to have. Surrendering to divine timing is very, and I say that because Pisces, Virgo, very mutable signs, or they are mutable signs. And divine timing is about being able to adapt. I have learned that divine timing is actually your timing. And when you choose to show up for yourself in your life and listen to what your soul wants you to do, and you go on the path, the direction, even if it doesn't make any sense, you begin to align with things in your life and stuff starts to happen. And you're just like, holy crap, that's like a miracle that just happened there. So divine timing is your timing as long as you're aware of yourself and aware of the path that you're on. So yeah, there can be a lot of fear. Love this. Okay. The first card that flipped over was the Magician. The last card that flipped over was the Hanged Man. So we're definitely in that mutable part, okay? I have like this hair that's tickling me. The Magician. The Magician is mercurial. The Magician is Jupiterian. That is exactly what this full moon is, right? Jupiter rules Pisces, Mercury rules Virgo. Very mutable, very Jupiterian. Page of Swords, Two of Pentacles, and the Hanged Man. So this full moon is going to have you getting really honest with yourself about the decisions that you're making and what you actually want to have in your life. The Magician has all the tools to be able to create anything that he wants to have coming into his life, you know, anything that he is the great manifester, right? And he has all the tools to bring all of the things into his life that he wants. But that's not the only, like, you don't just think it up and it appears, right? You have to take accountability of yourself. What is manifestation? Discipline, accountability, discernment, knowing what you don't want just as much as what you do want, right? These are all those things that are going to be covered in that manifesting class. But you have to get honest with yourself. You have to get honest with yourself about what it is, because if you're confused and you don't know what it is that you want to bring into your life, there's a whole lot of things that the universe will be like, oh, that's fine. I can just bring whatever it is that you need into your life, and then you will be blindsided, right? So there's a patience that's also involved here with the Hanged Man. And I think more than anything, it's about a pause and a reflection. I think that this full moon is like, you want to manifest a new beginning for yourself. And you want to be able to see the things that you want to be able, you know, you want to have a certain type of life, a particular type of life, right? But you got to get on, you know, people want to manifest things so badly, but they don't want to go through the circumstances that they have to go through to be able to get to that manifestation. Discipline, accountability, discernment, being honest with yourself about what it is that you do want, and not pleasing other people along the way. Taking yourself out of the equation and only people pleasing, you're not going to get anything you want doing that. I hate it when I find the hairs that have fallen out and they're gray and they're long. Gray. Okay, let's clarify. Magician. Yep. You want to manifest this new beginning so badly, but that requires taking a risk. That requires showing up for yourself. That requires being diligent and listening to what's going on around you. The Fool. On the Magician. The Fool is a brand new beginning. I feel like this Magician's energy and this reading is allowing us to kind of wrap up the summer. And like, what is it that I want to bring into with the solstice? What is it that I want to bring into with the Virgo new moon in September? Think about those things with this full moon. Think about what it is that you are making room for. What is it that you want to make space for? Right? Because you're going to need space for this new beginning that you're manifesting and that you're thinking up here. Page of Wands on the Page of Swords. So being honest with yourself and actually listening to it, and even taking action on the messages that you're getting for yourself. And, you know, the Pisces full moon is going to make all of us extremely intuitive. It's going to make all of us really in tune with what's going on collectively. And that can actually create some sadness and some pain and some heartache as well. But listening to, you know, your own honesty, like what it is that you need for yourself is going to create some new pathways for you, but you have to be willing to listen. Let's see what the Two of Pentacles is. And it's not even listening to other people. Like, you don't have to take anybody's advice. You don't have to take anybody's advice. Just listen to yourself. It's just really hard to get away from the whole idea of like, what will they think of me? If I listen to my own advice, what are they? Who's they, right? Apparently they, right? Three of Cups and the Six of Swords on the Two of Pentacles. See, there is like, seriously, I can't figure out where that hair is anyway. So the Three of Cups and the Six of Swords on the Two of Pentacles. Okay, so the decisions that we have to make, I feel like this is about you getting advice from other people. Even though I just said, like, you don't have to listen to other people, I do think that maybe getting some advice from other people, or, you know, getting other people to help you, you know, like, you don't have to do everything on your own all the time. And it's Virgo season. So we got to remind each other that you don't have to go it alone. You don't have to do everything all by yourself all the time. So I feel like these Three of Cups and the Six of Swords is almost like you'll get by with your friend's help, right? Things will become a little bit easier. It feels very much like things will become a little bit easier. I feel like you're also moving away from people that didn't necessarily that weren't there for you or something. For some of you, you're moving away from a friend group that was not necessarily good for you. Let's see what this Hanged Man. Okay. So while you're in that pause and reflection mode, I really want you to give yourself all the love, right? Pour all that love onto yourself while you're paused, while you're reflecting and you're paused. Knight of Cups is another messenger. We have several messengers here. So there's something that we're listening to. There's something that we really need to pay attention to and listen to and know that we're being taken care of, right? That we're being guided in the right direction. And I truly believe that that's the voice inside of you. And I feel like it's the voice inside of you that's telling you not to fear change and to surrender to whatever that's coming, it's coming, right? And allow this is like you pausing and reflecting can really help you to be open to receive. One of the hardest things that I've ever had to do in my life is to learn how to receive love and receive anything from other people because I was so closed off for so long. And when you're manifesting your life, you have to be open and vulnerable to receive whatever it is that's coming in so that you can work with that instead of an expectation of what you think is supposed to come in. You know, when we have expectations, we're closing ourselves off to so many other things that the universe is doing for us. So closing off that expectation for ourselves. The bottom of the deck is the Nine of Pentacles. So there's this independence and abundance. That Aries North Node is really having us stand up for ourselves. That Chiron in Aries present with the Aries North Node, really having us stand up for ourselves in big ways. So I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me for another moon reading. This one's going to be really interesting, quite a doozy for sure. I think that it's going to be a little bit more emotional than some people want it to be, but here we are. Let it go, let it go, let it go. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.